Okay, this is the American Culture reaction video. When I very first read the article, I was kind of confused because I hadn't really quite put two and two together that Nasirima was American backwards. And then as soon as I figured that out, I was like, okay, I couldn't quite tell if he was making fun of some of the rituals that Americans have, specifically the bathroom. Or like personal hygiene. That one kind of made me laugh a little bit. And the way that he described it as a shrine also made me kind of look at it in a different light, because if we're spending so much time in the bathroom or in the washroom, however you say it, to make us look presentable and to accomplish that personal hygiene that we're trying to achieve, I guess it could be looked at as a shrine. Even though we're not like dedicating it to somebody in specific, I guess that somebody in specific could be considered ourselves. The Mormon religion is often looked at in a weird light in regards to a different communication pattern or practice, because of the culture that comes with it. So I live in Utah, and one thing that's like that I've always noticed other people think is a little bit weird in the Mormon culture or the Utah culture is group dating. When I was growing up, all through high school, I could not go on dates, just me and one other person. It always had to be a group date, so we had to have other couples with us. And at the time, I didn't think it was a bad thing. But now that I'm like talking to other people in different cultures and from different states and different countries, that's not as common in other places as it is here in Utah because of the Mormon culture. And I think throughout history, it's changed quite a bit, just due to the fact that the culture is always changing, and there's always new information and different things that the church needs to address. And sometimes the dating practices of the youth aren't really quite on the top of the list. So I did do a little bit of research and saw that the most recent change that had to deal with young relationships for those in the Mormon church was last year in 2022 in October. The booklet that specifically defines the dating practice for youth is called the For the Strength of Youth booklet, and the most recent change was in October of last year, and it was changed to, quote, redefine and specify the guidance for the strength of youth, to teach them the doctrine behind the standards and the issues the youth are facing today, end quote. From LDS.org is where that came from. I do believe that it is beneficial that they reevaluated the dating practices for youth last year, because like I mentioned before, times are always changing and customs are always changing. So it's not as practical now with all of the safety features that we have, like on iPhones and smartwatches and smartphones in general. It's just a lot safer to be able to go out and do things on your own versus before smartphones and all of that stuff. The last time it was redefined is the term they used was in 2001. So almost 20 years of a difference. So things that were happening 20 years ago don't really apply to things that are happening now, 20 years later. There are significant significant differences that are that youth are struggling with now versus what they were struggling with before, and the church redefining what the For the Strength of Youth booklet gives the youth guidance on is a great way to help the youth that are involved in the church to have consistent doctrine to follow that are relevant and that apply to them versus how it was previously from 20 years ago.